So what are you getting yourself into when you're buying into an homeowners association or condo association? This is Dave at TitleSearch.com. Whether you are currently in a subdivision that has a homeowner association or a condo association, or if you're buying into one through an investment, through a real estate deal, or even a foreclosure property, it's important to analyze that homeowners association or condo association to know what you're getting into. Effectively, you are becoming a business partner with every other owner in that development. You are connecting your finances with the finances of the other unit owners in that development. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to take a look at what is the HOA structure. Is it a corporation? Is it a partnership? And if it's been properly constituted, did the builder and developer who created this division of property create the homeowner association properly according to state laws, according to county ordinances, and it was created properly at the time that the HOA was constituted. The second thing you want to do, most important, is look at the financial statement of the HOA. Is it a positive cash flow? Are there reserves? And we'll get more into that a little bit later. The main thing is the HOA has expenses that it has to pay. It may have to pay for legal fees to oversee the HOA. It may have to pay for insurance. It may have to pay for even utilities for electricity and water for common areas. You want to make sure that the prior expenses are in line with operating an HOA of that size. You want to make sure that any large expenses are put out for bids, that sweetheart deals are not being made with contractors, and that it's regularly audited, so that if a HOA has a financial statement, somebody takes a look at it, make sure all the numbers add up the right way, and make sure the large expenses are not going to the cousin of the HOA board president to do repairs that maybe aren't needed or that are overpriced. Another big issue with the financial statement is to look to see if reserves are being accrued properly. If, let's say, the pool needs to be refinished every 6 years, then there should be a reserve built into the HOA fees to properly fund that pool refinishing when it's needed. And ideally, these would be done in advance, so it's accumulated over 6 years and then paid for, and then accumulated the next 6 years. Sometimes it's done in arrears, meaning that when it's the pool is refinished, that they add an amount for that payment to the next owners. It's really less fair that way because the use of that pool and the deterioration occurred during the years prior. So they should be paid for in advance, not in arrears. But either way, look for those reserves to make sure that as a buyer in that HOA or in that condo association, that the roof of the common area needs to be repaired for $20,000 doesn't become what's called a special assessment. When that big expense pops up, nobody knew about it in advance, nobody prepared for it, so now all the unit owners get hit with a big fee to pay for that roof, even somebody who bought a month before who didn't own during the time when that roof was being deteriorated. That's a big deal. Those special assessments are often a trigger for people having defaults on their mortgages, having defaults on their HOA fees. So make sure that proper reserves are being accounted for in accordance with state law. Make sure that the voting and the meetings of the HOA are conducted according to state statute. There's a proper quorum, there's enough people to vote. Make sure the voting occurs according to Robert's Rules of Order or whatever format is authorized in that corporate structure, and make sure that the proper representation of all the unit owners is made so that everybody gets a vote in the different decisions being made by the HOA. And when it comes to the expenses and the liability, there's a big issue with insurance. Make sure that the homeowner association has proper insurance for liability. If somebody gets hurt in a common area, that it doesn't accrue to all the unit owners, again with a special assessment. Make sure that the officers who control the HOA have proper insurance, and maybe even background checking for things like fraud. Sometimes a homeowner association can be devastated if one of the officers cleans out the bank account and now they have to start over. So you have insurance for theft, you have insurance for liability, and also to protect the officers through D&O insurance or directors and officers insurance if they make a mistake, that they're not personally held liable. That's only fair if they're going to donate their time. When it comes down to little details, you want to make sure that even things like utilities in that subdivision are appropriated correctly. You may have a circuit for lighting for the tennis courts. You want to make sure that that's associated with the homeowner association. You also want to make sure that no private property, separate owners utilities are feeding off of the master account for the association. So an HOA is a big part of a purchase decision. If the fees are $250 a month, if they should be $150 because it's not being run efficiently, that's important to know. By the same token, if the fees really should be $450 because appropriate reserves aren't being taken, that would be an important thing to know. So you truly get an understanding of what that unit's going to cost you during the course of ownership. For more information, you can click the link below this video. It goes to titlesearch.com if you need a title search, or if you know somebody else who you think would benefit from this video, feel free to forward along to them using the share link at the bottom, and we'll see you in the next video about real estate title records.